Alright, so welcome back everybody to Reykholt solo gameplay. So this will be the first video of solo gameplay. So I went over the rules, basic rules of how to play this game more or less. I might have left a few things out because multiplayer is still a little bit different from solo player. So I'm going to mention a couple more things about solo mode that I might not have mentioned. Let's see here. First of all, when you play solo mode, you're actually playing with basically two different colored workers. So even though technically when you play multiplayer, you're only going to get one color per player, when you play solo mode, you're going to be playing with two different colors. But you still only get one of these manager bottles, okay? You get to choose which color you want out of the two that you chose, obviously, but you only get one. And the reason why you get two sets of these is it would be too easy if you had access to all of those actions there every round. So during the first round, there's only 5 rounds, okay? When you play solo mode, you only get 5 rounds to win the game. And in order to win the game, see where my finger is pointing? That's a table with 5 tomatoes on it. I have to reach that table by the end of the game in order to win solo mode. And it isn't easy, let me tell you. It's not easy. I did manage to do it just barely. But then, you know, for some reason they seem to think you can get even farther than that. But still, it's not an easy game to play, for sure, even for solo mode. Definitely a lot easier if you're playing multiplayer, but harder if you're playing by yourself, for sure. Now, so for the first round, I'm going to go with these blue ones, and I will place them and take the corresponding actions when I place them. But during the end of the first round, they will actually stay there. Normally, during the homecoming time, all of the workers get to come home. But when you play solo, all the workers from the first round will stay on the board here, blocking these here. And then during the second round, I'll be playing with these workers. And they will be able to go to the other spots where the actions are that I don't have either those, which are obviously not mine, or these as well. So I'll have less choices. And then at the end of the second round, these guys will finally get to come home, and I'll be playing with these guys during the third round. But during the third round, these workers will be blocking spots where I would probably maybe even want to put those. So that's basically how that works in solo mode. Now, another thing to note about solo mode is, well, I'm going to start with one of these randomly. So all of these are random, basically. So, let's see. I'll take this one here. So this will be the first greenhouse I get to start with. And if you look on the greenhouse, it says I can either grow tomatoes here or I can grow lettuce here. I can only grow one or the other, but I have those options. But it has room for 6 of the produce on there, 6 of the vegetables on this card. So I'll keep that. Let's put that there so you guys can at least see it. I'll try to put my greenhouses here if I can. Now, when you play solo mode, you'll see I still have 4 randomizer cards here. So when you play solo mode, at the beginning of each round, I actually get to take one of these randomly. So one of these cards I will take randomly at the beginning of each round, and so I will end up with at least 5 greenhouses at the end of the game, unless I decide to use an action to get more greenhouses. So it is possible for me to grow all 5 types, but that means the last round, there'll be at least one vegetable that barely gets grown at all. So that's just how it works. So that's kind of cool. And then another thing about solo mode is I do start with 1 free tomato at the beginning of the game. So I'll put my little supply here nearby so everyone can see that as well. And so that's basically what I would start with. And I'll move these out of the way anyways because you've already seen them anyways. So basically, that's, I think, all you need to know in order to play solo mode. So I'm going to go ahead and get started playing solo mode. If you guys can't see the actions from where you're at in the video, because your screen's just not big enough or something. I did do a video, how to play video ahead of time, where I zoomed in on all of those actions. But I will read them out when I pick a certain spot for an action. So, what should I do first? I could seed this tomato, and I might just do that. I think for my first action, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this worker here to this location in the middle. What this is going to let me do, it's either going to let me take one service card or discard any 3 different goods to take 3 identical goods. Well, I don't have 3 different goods, so I'm using it to take a service card. And the service card I'm going to take is this one right here, which is a geothermal heat pump. And this special action that I've got here is, or ability that I have, an ongoing ability to boot, is whenever you seed at least 1 time, you may harvest 1 time. So there's a reason why I chose that one first. I'll put that one sort of in view, but right there on the sidelines, that's the ability that I have, one of them anyway. So for my second action, I am going to put my worker here. I get to take 1 tomato with this one, and I also get to seed 1 time as well. So I'm going to go ahead and seed my tomato right here. So my first one will have to go there or somewhere on the card, but then I get to fill in the rest of the slots with tomatoes from the tomato supply, or tomato crate, if you will. So, or tomato box, maybe, perhaps, would be a better word to describe that. So, I get to fill these up with tomatoes, which is really, really cool. So now, I'll be able to get more tomatoes as the game goes on, obviously. And I still need 1 more tomato on that slot, so let's put that there too. Okay, so there we go. I've got 6 tomatoes. Now, if you'll recall, that ability I got is whenever you seed at least 1 time, you may harvest 1 time as well. So, I seeded 1 time. I just seeded, so I automatically get to harvest 1 time. So I get my tomato back, for instance. So that's really cool, right? Now, I still have 1 action token. So I think for my first action, I'm actually going to go ahead and put my action token on here, and this one gives me a choice of either taking 2 tomatoes from the supply or 2 lettuce from the supply. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take 2 lettuce from the supply. So that's what I'll do. Okay, now my work time phase is done. So now it's harvest time phase. So I only have 1 greenhouse at the moment, so I can only take 1 of these. So now I have 3 tomatoes and 2 lettuce, and that's it for my harvest time phase. So now it is tourism time phase. So now I get to move my manager bottle here up 1. By paying a tomato to the supply, I get to move up 1 table. By paying 1 of these lettuce, I also get to move up to the next table after that. And now I can take a bonus, because now I don't have a mushroom. I can't pay a mushroom to move to the next table. But I can take the bonus now to move to the next table. Doing the bonus actually gives me the corresponding vegetable. So I would get the mushroom moving to the mushroom table. And so now I have a mushroom. That's the farthest I can go. So the tourism phase is done. And there is no homecoming time phase this round, because my workers must stay out in the fields to block the next set of workers. Okay, so that's the end of that first round. So I just have 4 more rounds and the game is done. So will I be able to make it up there? That's the question. So let's see here. I'm going to move this down a little bit. There we go. Let's start with that. As we get higher up, I'll try to see if I can get the whole board in view. But anyways, so now my action phase begins. Oh, but before my action phase begins, I get 1 free random greenhouse. So which one should I take? That's a good question. I'll take this one. This one does carrots. This one does... okay, so yeah. Which is not one I wanted, because I wanted to hopefully either plant some other stuff. So, for this action, because I need to do carrots, and this is like the only one that does carrots, and it does not make much sense to do lettuce or mushrooms on this one. So, I think for my action, I'm going to discard a good to take one greenhouse. So my first action, I'm going to discard this tomato here, and then I get one greenhouse card of my choice. So I'm going to take this one here. It's got the lettuce on it, so that's nice. We're actually going to put this one here, so that way everyone can see it. And since we're not going to be utilizing probably any of these anyways, we'll go ahead and cover that one up with this greenhouse. Okay, so that was one action. So I still have 2 more to go. Let's see here. I don't want to seed 2 times right now because even though I could do that, I'm not going to. It doesn't make much sense right now. So, decisions. I might as well do this. Harvest 1 time. So I'll go ahead and harvest the tomato 1 time. Okay. And then I also get to choose either a lettuce or a cauliflower. I will take the cauliflower. So I'll take the cauliflower from the supply. And now I've got a cauliflower too in my stock, in my supply. All right, so I still have 1 action I can take. Oh boy, I do want to seed so I can get tons of produce. Oh boy, well, I guess we'll do that. Yeah, we will do that. But maybe I can do it later. Let's see here. What should I do? Oh, let's see here. Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to go ahead and take the action. Seed at least 2 times. So we'll go ahead and seed here. What we'll seed is we'll seed the lettuce. So now I get to take the rest of the lettuce from the supply and basically plant them out. And 1 more for that one. And then I'm also going to go ahead and seed the cauliflower here as well. So I get to take 2 more from the supply and put them on the greenhouse. Plant them in the greenhouse. There we go. I've seeded at least 2 times. Okay, and then it says whenever you seed, you may harvest. So I'm going to harvest from here for the cauliflower. There we go. Cool. All right. So that ends the work time phase. So now it's harvest time phase. So I get to take 1 cauliflower from that greenhouse. I get to take 1 lettuce from that greenhouse. And we'll just put that there. And I also get to take 1 tomato as well. So that's pretty cool. All right, that ends the harvest time phase. So now it is the tourism phase. So I'm going to go ahead and pay 1 cauliflower to move up to the cauliflower table. I don't have a carrot, so therefore I'm going to take my bonus now to take 1 carrot from the carrot table. So now I've got a carrot too. And then I can now pay 2 tomatoes to move up to the tomato table. Okay. And that's the highest I can go, because I've only got 1 lettuce. So that ends round 2. So now that round 2 is over, I finally get to take some workers back, because it is actually homecoming time technically, which is the end of round 2. And I get these guys back. And now that it's the beginning of of the third round, I get another free greenhouse. And so I'm going to take, let's see here. I'm going to take this one here. Oh, sweet. Mushrooms on this one. Can have up to mushrooms on this one. Okay. So, let's see here. Let's maneuver some stuff around a little bit. Make some space. Move my supply out of the way so I can get the mushrooms in view as well. Yeah, that should be fine. And then, let's just put these on the sidelines over here. There we go. That should be fine. All right, that way everyone can see it that way. All right. Anyways, so now it is the beginning of round 3. So we're about halfway through the game almost now. So let's see, what should I do first? Yes, I think I will take a I'll take this one. This action here, which allows me to take a service card. I'm going to take the rooster. So now at the beginning of each work time, I may seed 1 time, which is pretty sweet. So now I have 2 abilities. And when you do that, you actually get a free foodie. And I forgot to take the tomato the first time through. So I'm going to take it now before I forget further down the road. And I also get my lettuce. Not that it would have mattered because I wouldn't have needed the tomato at that point in the game anyway. So, anyways. So now I still have 2 actions I can take. So let's see here. Decisions. I have 2 lettuce. So that should be easy enough. I need mushrooms for sure. And I don't have any. Yes, let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and take this action here, which allows me to take 1 free tomato, which is okay. I could definitely use more tomatoes. In this game, you will need more tomatoes than most of the other produce for sure, because I need to make it to the tomato 5 table in order to win the game. So you'll definitely need more tomatoes. Now I've got 3 tomatoes. And I get to seed 1 time. So I'm going to seed this one with the 1 mushroom that I have. So there we go. I get to put the rest of the mushrooms on here as well. So let's do that. Mushrooms seem to be harder to get out than the rest for some reason. Or maybe it's just because I don't like mushrooms. One or the other. But, nonetheless, they seem to be the hardest to take out of the crates. Okay. Now we got all the mushrooms as well, and I've seeded. And now that I've seeded, my ability allows me to harvest 1 time. So I'll take 1 mushroom as well. So I get my mushroom back, which is pretty sweet. All right. Now, I still have 1 action left for this. So, let's see here. I'm going to, I'm going to need 2 mushrooms, of course. I'm going to have the cabbage taken care of. The carrots, that's the hard part. Carrots. I could do the carrots to get the carrots. Let's see here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Carrots are still going to be hard ones to get. So I'm going to take this action here, I think. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to take that action to take a carrot. Yes, we'll take the carrot. And so now I have a carrot. That was my 3rd action. So now I can harvest, which is awesome. I can harvest now. So I get 1 cauliflower. I get 1 of these lettuces. I get 1 tomato. I get 1 mushroom as well. And that's all I get. Okay. So now that's the end of the harvest time phase. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the tourism phase. And I'm going to pay 2 of these lettuces to move up to the lettuce table. And I'll pay 2 mushrooms to the tourists, or should I say feed the tourists 2 mushrooms. Oh, I don't know why you like mushrooms. To the mushroom table. And then I'll feed 2 cauliflower to the cauliflower table. I don't have 2 carrots. I only have 1. So I'm going to take the bonus now to take 2 carrots. So now I've got 3 carrots. But now I get to move to the carrot table. And I do have 3 tomatoes at least. So that means now I can move and pay 3 tomatoes to move to the tomato table of 3. Which you can just barely see now. So now that ends that part of the phase. So now I get to bring these guys back for homecoming time. And that is the end of the 3rd round. So we'll continue with the 4th round in the next video.